soil acidity is a silent killer.
In the here and now, in 2023, Tanzania represents more than just a nation on a map. It's a pivotal hub of nourishment, a breadbasket feeding not just its people, but those across the East African community and the Southern African Development Community. This is not merely a geographical definition, it's a lifeline, a cornerstone of survival and growth for many communities. By 2030, Tanzania is predicted to contribute to the global food supply significantly. This forecast by the World Bank, the United Nations, and the Tanzanian government is no small task.
Introduced an Agenda 2030 as a policy that by the year 2030, agriculture sector in Tanzania should contribute by 10% to the GDP. So who is going to do that? The youth.
Input is very important. How do you make farmers resilient? How do we use artificial intelligence to understand how farmers can predict the environment and the changing situation on the ground? What we want to say is, come 2027, there will be nothing like poverty in this country. Tanzania will be feeding the rest of Africa and the region, and I know this is possible.
For the East Africa community's second largest economy, some formidable hurdles must be overcome to ascend to the zenith of global food systems. These include soil degradation, climate change, and unsustainable farming practices, each of which poses significant threats.
In Tanzania now, in our effort to make sure that there is an increased productivity per area to our farmers, we have seen that it is very, very important for farmers to take care of the health of the soil, just as it is important for us humans to take care of ourselves so that we become productive. It is very important for all the farmers to take care of the health of the soils. And what is needed is for the farmers to take measures that will ensure that he understands the nutrient content of the soil, but also other conditions, as whether the soil is acidic or is alkalinic. And for that, you can add materials that will improve that condition and bring it to the optimum levels of acidity or alkalinity that is required for the crops to grow.
When you have low pH soil, that is when you have acid soils, most of the bases, calcium, magnesium, potassium, are not in that solution. They are in low levels and they are not available for plant uptake. As we know, for the crop to do better, they have to have nutrients. The most nutrients that are affected by low pH soils are bases, but also nitrogen and phosphorus. Phosphorus in low pH soils are fixed by the elements that are usually dissolved in the low pH soil, especially aluminium, manganese and iron. They fix phosphorus and make it unavailable for plant uptake. If phosphorus is not available, it affects the rooting system, it affects the crop establishment. If the bases, like the one I mentioned, calcium, magnesium, potassium, if they are not available, the crop will not sprout or grow in a healthy way. So you have stunted crops, you have poor crops, you have little grains, and you have, at last, a poor yield.
Farmers constantly battle against soil degradation across diverse landscapes, from the highlands and lowlands to the plains and the grandeur of the Great Rift Valley. Soil acidity and alkalinity threaten these farmers' livelihoods and the country's agricultural productivity, affecting about 14.3% or 4.7 million hectares of Tanzania's cropland. These conditions diminish crop yields and fertilizer effectiveness, imposing an annual economic impact exceeding $470 million.
A crop like maize, beans, wheat, name it, the major crops, require the soil pH between 5.5 and 7.5. And because that is the range where most of the nutrients are balanced, they are available in the soil solution. Think that you have 1.1 million hectares that grow maize. And because of the low pH, you end up getting 2 bags of 100 kg per kg per hectare. If you can just find, and you know that in 1 hectare you are supposed to get 25 bags, but because of the soil acidity you get 2 bags, 3 bags, 5 bags instead of 25, 30. You can see the gap or the loss you are getting. That is one. But another thing, when you have low pH soil, when you apply fertilizers, the fertilizers are not well taken up by the crop. You get up losing up to 70% of what you apply. Which means if you are investing 100 for fertilizer, you are losing 70 shillings for each 100 you invest in the low acid soil. Which means you can compute using the government subsidy. You can take the billions that are being applied in those soils, and then you just take 50 to 70% as a loss.
Efforts to increase fertilizer use, nearly doubling from 8.6 kilograms per hectare in 2011 to 15.9 in 2018, have been hindered by the soil conditions, reducing nutrient uptake by up to 70%. This inefficiency leads to an annual loss of approximately $30 million. On top of this, soil salinization threatens over 3 million hectares of vital agricultural land. But hope is not lost. A solution lies in the natural substances of lime and gypsum. Led by the Southern Agricultural Growth Corridor of Tanzania's Soil Partnership, these substances promise to bring balance back to Tanzania's soils. Their potential was recognized by the then Minister of Agriculture, Professor Adolf Mkenda, and has continued to be a priority under his successor, Hussein Bashi.
Sekta yetu ya kilimo imekuwa na tatizo kubwa la tija, na tija ina formula. Formula ya kwanza ni pembejeo. Formula ya pili ni research and development. Formula ya tatu ni mbegu bora. Na component ya 4 kwenye hii formula moja ni swala la miundombinu na umwagiliaji na vitu vya namna hiyo. Lakini hivi vitu vyote vitaweza kufanikiwa tu kama swala la afya ya udongo litatambulika. Kwa hiyo kama wizara tulisema kwamba safari hii maafisa ugani katika bajeti yetu tutawatrain, tutawapatia vitendea kazi. Kitendea kazi kimojawapo ni maabara inayotembea. Hii huduma tutaitoa bure kwa kila mkulima, na itakuwa ni huduma ya bure katika kila kata, kila kijiji ambako kuna afisa ugani ambaye atapewa vitendea kazi. Moja ya kitendea kazi atakachokabidhiwa ni hii mashine ambayo serikali itanunua na kuwakabidhi maafisa ugani.
Most productive areas where we receive a lot of rain, the soils are very acidic. And it is for that purpose we have distributed equipment for testing the soils, but also we have trained our extension officers to go and train the farmers. And in order for that, be able to use the results, we have actually developed the value chain for soil improvement materials like lime and also other materials like gypsum. When needed, farmer now will be able to get that material.
Mimi najishughulisha na kilimo cha maharage, mahindi, lakini pia na mboga mboga. Kwenye kilimo ziko changamoto mbalimbali hasa kwenye udongo. Na nilipata fursa ya kupimiwa afya ya udongo kwenye mradi wa kilimo na watu wa Ikuo. Baada ya kuletewa majibu ikaonekana kwamba kwenye udongo wakasema kwamba pH iko chini, maana yake kiwango cha asidi kipo juu. Kwa hiyo nikawa nimeshauriwa kwamba ili kupandisha pH kwa ajili ya matumizi mazuri ya virutubisho kule chini, wakanishauri kwamba nitumie hiyo choka mazao, kwa sababu wanasema nikitumia itapeleka pH kwenye kiwango ambacho kinatakiwa kwenye 7. Kwa hiyo nilifanya hizo jitihada, nikawasiliana na watu mikoani huko, nikawa nimepata kiasi. Kwenye eneo lile ambalo nilitumia kipato kilikuwa ni tofauti na ile maeneo mengine ambayo sikutumia. Kwa hiyo ni kweli kwamba nilivyotumia ile chokaa mazao, nilivyokuja kuweka mbolea ilikuja ikafanya vizuri sana kwenye mazao tofauti na sehemu ile ambayo sikutumia.
Mtu ananunua mbegu, basi akienda kupanda shambani, kwa sababu udongo wake hujapimwa, ajue anatakiwa apande mbegu gani, anapanda tu kwa kubahatisha. Kwa hiyo ile mbegu anapanda, anapata hasara. Inaota, lakini baadaye anasema kwamba kipato kinakuwa kidogo. Ukimuuliza umefuata masharti yote ya kulima, anasema ndio, nimeweka mbolea ya kupandia, nimeweka mbolea ya kubebeshea na nimeweka mbolea ya kukuzia. Na huwa wakulima wengi wakifuata utaratibu wa kilimo, mkulima kwa hekari moja ana uwezo wa kuvuna hata gunia 40 kutokana na jinsi anavyotunza shamba lake. Lakini sasa kwenye udongo ambao haujapimwa, mkulima anakutana na changamoto hiyo, anapata hasara, anapata kipato kidogo sana.
Kusema tu ukweli, tulikuwa tunalima na magisai. Ukishalima unapanda tu hivyo hivyo mahindi yako bila hata chokaa wala mbolea. Baada ya kufika hawa wataalamu wetu hawa, nilichojifunza pale, kwanza walikuja na utaalamu wa kuanza wanalima na magisai, kwa baadaye ndo wanamwaga chokaa, unaona, kwa baadaye ndo wanapanda mahindi.
Mimi changamoto ambazo ninazozipitia katika kilimo changu ni kukoswa mtaji wa kupata mbolea, na changamoto zingine ambazo ninazozipata ni kukoswa uelekezaji. Leo nimepata uelekezaji, isipokuwa changamoto ni kwa ajili ya mtaji. Kama nikipata mtaji, nitapata mbolea na chokaa, naamini kwamba mazao yangu na mimi yatakuwa mazuri, na nitalima kulingana na jinsi nilivyojifunza, naamini mazao yatatoka vizuri.
Changamoto kwa sisi wakulima, maana upatikanaji wa mbolea na hii chokaa ni adimu, kwa sababu basi kwamba hata kiangalia basi kwamba upatikanaji wa mbolea umekuwa wa shida sana. Ndio maana tunaishia basi kwamba kulima kilimo cha hasara.
During the fiscal periods of 2021 to 22 and 22 to 23, soil health has been a significant focus. The Agriculture Minister recognized the 43 lime usage trials implemented in the Mbozi and Geita districts. This focus continues. The Ministry of Agriculture empowers agricultural extension officers nationwide to conduct soil health assessments. This initiative aims to equip these officers with the necessary tools and knowledge to effectively evaluate soil conditions, leading to more informed, strategic, and sustainable farming practices.
Among of the intervention which we are doing is includes sustainable farming, and the subcomponent within sustainable farming we try to see how we can support our farmers, particularly to reduce the effect of soil acidity. And in Tanzania, most part of southern highland, they're highly affected with soil acidity, whereby the pH level is gone high. So among of the work which we are doing to work with farmers, first one is to understand how the land has been affected with soil acidity. But also another way we try to create awareness in terms of how we can solve that problem.
Sisi Wizara ya Kilimo tumesema hapana, mkulima afya yake haitapimwa, tutapima afya ya udongo wake ili tujue ni mazao gani yatafaa kulimwa kwenye eneo lile. Kwa hiyo ajenda 1030 tunaanza na afya ya udongo. Ukijua afya ya udongo itakufanya ufanye chochote. Utajua mbolea gani utumie, kwa namna gani, kiasi gani. Maana yake ni nini? Kama tunatumia mbolea bila kutumia vipimo, itatusaidia kujua mbolea itumike namna gani kwenye maeneo gani. Lakini pia mazao gani yalimwe wapi.
Changamoto ya upatikanaji wa pembejeo ya chokaa ambayo kwa asilimia kubwa inatumika kwenye kulinda virutubisho vya udongo ili kuhakikisha udongo unaendelea kubaki na rutuba, ili kuhakikisha uzalishaji unakuwa mkubwa kabla hatujatumia mbolea. Nitoe wito tu kwamba uhitaji ni mkubwa, lakini jitihada, nia na dhamira ni kubwa ya serikali kwenye sekta ya kilimo. Kwa hiyo tualike wadau wengine ili kuja kuishika mkono serikali kuhakikisha upatikanaji wa hii pembejeo ya chokaa kwa wananchi, ambayo inalinda rutuba ya ardhi basi ama ya udongo. Wadau mbalimbali wajitokeze kwenye mkoa wetu kwa ajili ya kuishika mkono kwenye eneo la kuifikishia huduma na upatikanaji wa hicho kaa kwa wananchi.
Kama ukanda wetu wa juu una tindikali kubwa ya udongo, hatuweke mbolea kiasi gani haiwezi kufanya kazi, kupatia matokeo yale yanayostahili. Kwa hiyo unapoweka chokaa mazao inasaidia sasa kurudisha ile afya ya udongo ambayo imeshapotea.
We've been funded by AGRA to carry out to develop and support farmers along many value chains under the Piata Tuja projects. We've been working with smallholder farmers basically for them to begin to understand soil acidity first, but also to begin to understand how to manage soil acidity. So the first thing we've been doing is we've been working with the lime companies. And in Tanzania, we've been working with Dodoma Cement and basically teaching farmers on lime and what lime is about. And because we started a bit at the beginning, lime initially used to be sold as dust. And so we worked with Dodoma Cement and AGRA, of course, to ensure that the pellets were being, they were granulated, because the farmers were having a problem with the dust itself. But we also did tests on the ground to show farmers the importance of using lime, using demonstrations. There's demonstrations, and then there's also small pack. A few of them went home to test it on a small area, and they did really well with it. So that is how we've been working with soil acidity. But the other thing is we worked also with local governments, and so for instance in Rukwa, and soil tests were done through AGRA, and a booklet was developed that would guide in the different villages that we worked exactly what needed to be done on liming. Worked very well, and the government extension team that we were working with is now promoting the use of lime.
With Tanzania's annual demand reaching 14.1 million tons of lime, the country is positioned on the threshold of an unprecedented opportunity in the agri-environmental sector. This need for lime not only presents a potential surge in domestic production, but also stimulates the creation of lime mining and processing industries. The resultant effect would be job creation, economic growth, and restoring the nation's soils, paving the way towards a sustainable and prosperous future. But this grand vision will only become a reality through the collective efforts of the government, private sector, and non-profit organizations.
The name of our company is Dodoma Cement Company, but we're not focusing on cement aspect, but we're very focused on agriculture inputs, whereby we have two best products for every farmer here in Tanzania, whereby we have agricultural limes, which is scattered or is there to provide solution where there is acidity. And as a company policy, we always urge our client that before they apply or decide to use our product, they need to test their soil for them to at least understand the status of pH as well as the nature of the soil health of their plots. So where there is acidity, our company provides solution whereby we produce and distribute agriculture lime. But not only that, you know that in Tanzania, not all the time the land can be acidity, but there's also a situation whereby the land can also be alkaline. To that end, our company, we do also have a very best product, which is agriculture gypsum, which is there to correct the amount of alkaline that is within soil that is intended for cultivation.
We did a purposeful decision to go to data because 45% of the acid soils is located in the lake zone and the western zone. 30% is in the southern highlanded south. While there was some kind of awareness in the southern highland, there was no awareness at all around the lake zone. So we did a purposeful selection of that site. As I'm speaking with you now, we have 100 farmers who registered their name, they need lime, and they are ready to buy. So there is awareness creation, but also we have established the losses the farmers are incurring by not using lime.
Tools such as the Gaia dashboard, a revolutionary web-based platform providing crucial insights into the spatial distribution of acidic soils across sub-Saharan Africa, will be invaluable in this joint effort. The time for decisive action is now. Whether through a dedicated policy framework or integration into existing policies, soil acidity and alkalinity must be addressed at the highest level. The future of Tanzania's agricultural productivity, food security, and its role in the global food supply depends on it. The health of our soils is the investment we make today for a sustainable and food-secure tomorrow.
The farmer that has taken care of his soil, the productivity for maize in the Southern Highlands can actually increase from the current levels of 1.3 tons per hectare all the way to 12 tons per hectare. This is a mammoth increase as far as productivity is concerned. And I know this is not only for Tanzania, it's across the continent in Africa. Let's take care of our soils so that our soils will reward us accordingly.